Hi guys, this is Vineet. In this video, we'll talk about how you can view or change the recovery model of a database in SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon and select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. Please watch the video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept. If possible for you, please watch this video twice and perform the exercises in your lab environment with the test databases. And we would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please share your comments regarding our videos. Let's go back to the topic. So topic is how to view or change the recovery model of our database in SQL Server. Let's go back to notes. So in this video, we will cover a demo how you can view or change the recovery model of a database. So let's go through some points before uh, jumping onto practical. And basically, let's talk about a recovery model. What is a recovery model? A recovery model is a database property basically that controls how transactions are logged inside the transaction log files. So basically, recovery model determines, and it's a database property. It controls how the transactions are logged within the transaction log file and whether the transaction log requires backing up and what kind of restore operations are available. So recovery model determines all these things. There are three types of recovery models present inside SQL Server. One is simple, second one is bulk logged, and third one is full recovery model. And typically a database uses a full recovery model or a simple recovery model. And a database can be switched back to another recovery model at any time. And model database is a sample database which is used as a template database to set the default recovery model of a new database. And there are some important points to remember. So back up the transaction log before switching from the bulk or full log recovery model. So whenever we are switching a recovery model of a database, maybe from full to bulk logged or from bulk log to full, we should take a backup of the transaction log before doing that. And point in time recovery is not possible in the case of bulk log recovery model. So if a database is in bulk log recovery mode, then yeah, point in time recovery is not possible if transactions are getting logged in the transaction log using the bulk log recovery model. Alright, so next point is running transaction under the bulk log recovery model that require a transaction log restore can expose them to data loss. So in the case of bulk log recovery model, there are chances of there is some data loss while that require transaction log operations. So running any transactions under the bulk log recovery model and that require a transaction log restore can expose them to data loss. So if we are doing a recovery in bulk log recovery model, and there are chances of losing certain data because all the data is not recorded within the transaction log if we are using the bulk log recovery model. Whereas in comparison to full recovery model, in full recovery model, all the transactions get logged within the transaction log file, so full restore is possible, and there are very less chances of data loss. And there are certain conditions where you can switch to bulk log recovery model. So we must be using bulk log recovery model only under the following circumstances, or if we are switching it temporarily to bulk log recovery model, that should be based on certain conditions. So let's discuss that. So let's discuss those conditions. So if we are switching to bulk log recovery model, there are conditions that users are not currently allowed in the database. So maybe database should be in the single user mode. and all the users are not able to access the database. That should be the condition. So we need to put database in a single user mode if we want to switch to bulk log recovery model. And all the modifications that are made during bulk processing is recoverable without depending on taking a log backup. So if second condition is also met, then we can switch to bulk log recovery model. So if there is a criteria or condition that whatever modifications we are making to tables during the bulk processing is recoverable without depending on taking a log backup. So our recovery should not be dependent on log backup if we want to switch to bulk log recovery model. So for example, if by rerunning the bulk processes we can restore the data, then yeah, we can switch to bulk log recovery model. And only one users are currently have access to a database at that time. That should be the second condition. And if above two conditions are met, we are not exposed to any data loss while restoring the transaction log. So if these two conditions are met, we are not exposed to any data loss while restoring the transaction log that was backed up under the bulk log recovery model. If we switch to full recovery model during the bulk operation logging changes from minimum logging to full logging. So the logging changes goes to full logging instead of minimal logging if we change to full recovery model, and vice versa if we are moving from full to bulk log recovery model. Instead of full logging, we are getting minimum logging in the transaction log files. And there are some recommendations for changing from bulk log recovery model to full recovery model. So what is that recommendation? So after completing bulk operations, so whenever the bulk operation is done, immediately we should switch back to full recovery model. That is one of the recommendation. So bulk log recovery model is used to perform, I think, the bulk operations like bulk insert is one of them, and bulk log recovery model should be used for that. And once the operations are completed, we should immediately switch back to full recovery model. And after switching back to full recovery model, we should back up the log. And let's discuss about recommendations after changing from simple model to bulk log or full recovery model. So after switching, whenever we switch from simple model to either bulk logged or full recovery model, we should take a full or differential backup to start the log chain. And to switch to the full or bulk log recovery takes place only after the first database backup. So until and unless we take the full database backup or a differential database backup after switching from simple model to bulk log recovery or simple to full recovery, the switch will not happen until we take the first database backup after changing the recovery model. And we should schedule regular log backups after changing from simple to full recovery or bulk log recovery. We should schedule regular log backups. So for in simple recovery model, we do not restore any transaction log backups because transaction log backup facility is not available within the simple recovery model. So after you switch to full recovery model, bulk log recovery model from a simple model, you can schedule regular log backups, and we should also update our restore plan accordingly. And we should back up the transaction log frequently enough. Otherwise, transaction log can expand until it runs out of disk space. So whenever we take a backup of transaction log, it clears the transaction log up till the point where the transactions are committed to the database. It clears the transaction log for those transactions. And if we are not taking backup of the transaction log, those transactions are not, which are already committed to the database, are not removed from the transaction log, and transaction log will keep on expanded until we reach out of disk space. Now let's discuss about recommendations after changing to simple recovery model. So if we are moving in a other direction, if we are moving from full recovery or bulk log recovery to a simple model, we should discontinue any scheduled jobs that are backing up the transaction log. and ensure that periodic database backups are scheduled. Now let's go to the practical where we'll show you how you can change the recovery model. So in our in this scenario, we will taking Northwind as a sample database. So right click on the database and we go to database properties. And in this section, we go to option sections on the left hand side. Here you will find the recovery model. Currently the recovery model for transaction, the Northwind database is full. Other options are bulk logged or simple. So right now it's set to full. And we can change the recovery model from here as well. Now let me show you how you can change the recovery model from within the T-SQL by using the T-SQL statements. So in order to do that, first of all, let me show you how you can select the recovery model. What is the recovery model if you want to check for a particular database? Let's check for Northwind. So we select name and the recovery model description. This is a system database, sys.databases, and we can specify the where condition where name is equal to we want for Northwind. So let's run this. So need to correct this. So it's recovery. Let's execute it. So Northwind has a full recovery model. We just run the first statement. It will give us the recovery model for all the databases. So master has a simple recovery model. Even worldwide importers has a simple recovery model. Now let's go ahead and change the recovery model for worldwide importers from simple to full recovery. So let's do that. So in order to do that, enter the alter database statement, and we are modifying this database, alter database worldwide importers, and we use the statement set recovery to full. And now let's execute this statement. So the recovery model is changed for worldwide importers from simple to full. Now we can check it here. Now the recovery model is full for worldwide importers database. So guys, we are done this video. With this video, here we have discussed some of the concepts and some things to be keep in mind while changing the recovery model of a database. And these are some of the points you should take care of. So please go through this video once more to gain better clarity. So, and let me also show you if we have a transaction log backup facility available under the simple recovery model. So let's take master database. Let's see if we are able to take we go to task. Right now it's showing it has a simple recovery model. So if we go to task and do a backup, so it is only allowing me to take a full database backup. It will not allow me to take a transaction log backup. So only option available is full. Whereas if we take Northwind, which has a full recovery model, and we want to take backup of this database, let's see what are the options available under backup type. So we have full, differential, and transaction log backup. So under recovery model, we can only take a full database backup, not even differential and the transaction log backups are not available in the simple recovery model. And let's see what if we change the model to bulk log recovery. Let's see what are the options that are available. I've changed the model to bulk log recovery. Let's see if we try to back up our database, what all options are available. So we have full, differential, transaction logs. So in both the bulk logged and full recovery model, both three options are available. All the options are available, full, differential, and transaction log. But there is a difference between full and bulk log recovery model. So that is the recording of transaction. The difference is regarding the recording of transaction in the transaction log. So in bulk log recovery model, there is minimum logging in the transaction log. Whereas if we are using full recovery model, there is full or maximum logging in the transaction log. And recovery chances, data loss chances are less in full recovery model compared to bulk log recovery model. So I hope you like this video, guys. In case you have any questions, do post comments to us. And I hope you like this video. Please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit on the bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. All right. Thanks for your time on this, and hope you have a wonderful day ahead.